You're listening to Kids Ministry Answers from Stuff You Can Use, from Stuff You Can Use, from StuffYouCanUse.org.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kids Ministry Answers. My name is Linda.
And my name is Jason, and this is the podcast where you ask the questions and we help you find the answers.
If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Jason and I are both pastors and also parents, which makes today's question especially relatable. So before we jump into the question of the day, let's start here. Hey, Jason, what is a parenting? I don't like saying like win or fail. What is like a parenting moment you had this week?
So I have one that's actually like a little bit of both, I think.
Okay.
It actually happened today. So I dropped my boys off at school this morning. I have two boys, first grade and fifth grade. And we usually like do our hugs goodbye and everything. And they're going to a new school. So it's been kind of stressful to acclimate and stuff. And we usually do the hugs goodbye, and today they just bolted on me and just ran right into the school building without hugs or a goodbye, which I think is a win because they obviously feel good about their school and they want to get in there, they want to get going. Sad for me because I wanted the hug and the I love yous, but it's all good. I just kind of yelled after them for a second. Yeah, cried in the car on the way home. But so kind of a win and a fail, I guess, in a way.
Oh, I know those moments seem so small, but it like sets the tone for the day. And you don't have like so many of those moments left. Yeah, when I do my drop off, I'm always like yelling at the kids. I'm like, I love you. Say it back. Say it back.
That's what I did. I love you.
They're like, yeah.
Yeah. I got to get in there.
That's so funny. My interesting parenting moment was recently we were at Disneyland and we got in line for one of the rides and it turned out to be a lot longer than we had anticipated. So we're like, oh, let's just go do something else. So we walked backwards out of the line and then my husband found like an exit gate that would just lead us back out. But it said emergency exit on it. And so while we're like, oh, let's just go out this way, my older son, he was like, no, that's for emergency exits. This is not an emergency. We're not allowed to go out that way. And I was like, just go through the gate. It's fine. And it was so funny because like my urgency to get out of this line superseded the fact that my son was actually kind of doing a good thing by following
he's doing the right
rules. I was just like, it's okay.
It's all right. Let's just go.
Yeah, it was kind of like a win/fail moment for me too.
Both of ours were win/fails. Maybe that's how parenting goes,
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I think there's a lot more of those than we think about.
Right.
So.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that with me. Today's listener question has to do with connecting with funny parents like us. So let's hear it.
Hi, I'm Anjanae Velasquez, and I'm one of the kids' elementary leads. I'm from Los Angeles, and I want to know, how do I get parents more involved in our ministry?
Hey, Anjanae from California, fellow Californian over here. Thank you so much for asking the question. This one hits home, kind of literally, because parents, as you are well aware, can be the hardest group to engage sometimes, right? And I think a lot of times it's really hard to think about what involved actually looks like for each of our different contexts. Like, how involved do we want them to be? Sometimes we're like, you're doing too much. Sometimes it's like, you're not doing enough. And we know that empirically our kids' ministries can't function without families. But then in kind of like the hustle and bustle of ministry, we often forget that parents exist. And we kind of just overlook that kid's entire ecosystem. Or we just kind of get frustrated by parents. We're like, why are you not involved? Why are you not doing the thing? So I think to answer this question, I think maybe we need to like flip the script, right? Instead of thinking like, parents need to follow our lead and just like get it, right? Instead of just expecting them to do all of that. What if we work on like earning their trust and building a relationship with them first?
Exactly. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. That trust and that relationship is a great way to go about it. Because once you've established that trust and built that relationship, then the asks, right? The inviting them to things, inviting them to be a bigger part of the ministry, that feels a whole lot easier and more
Mhm.
natural when you've already got the trust and the relationship built.
Right.
But that doesn't happen on accident. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't happen overnight. You really have to
Mm,
have a strategy to go about this. So that's what we're
right.
going to talk about. We're going to talk about 4 ways that we can better engage with the parents in our ministry.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into that. Okay, so Jason, where would you say is the best place to start for ministry leaders wanting to get more parent involvement?
Okay, so here's where we'd start. Number 1 for me is that we make events that are specifically for parents. So these are like events that have an environment that gets parents connected with your ministry, but also with their kids, or even better, if it can connect both things at the same time. So with their kids and with what's going on in your ministry at the same time. So some examples of these events might be like open houses, parent and small group leader breakfasts to connect your parents to the leaders in your ministry who are going to be talking to their kids, and also parent workshops to provide them all the information that they need about what's going on, give them practical training and some discipleship ideas, and some ways that you can kind of work this into your calendar if you're thinking about doing it that way is like in August, you can do an open house, which is great because then new families are coming in and you can invite them in that way. In October, you could do a parent and small group breakfast to kind of introduce them to the volunteers that are in your ministry, the leaders that your kids will be interacting with. And
Hmm.
maybe in January, you start doing those parent workshops because at that point, you've built some trust, you've gained some relationship, you can really start doing some practical training, giving them some ideas for discipleship with their kids. So
Yeah.
I would add this though. These are ideas specifically for parents. Excuse me. So these are ideas specifically for parents, but all our events should include parents, right? Like that is the
Hmm.
idea behind this. So these parent specific events will hopefully inspire the parents to get more involved in all of the events that you're doing throughout the whole year.
Yeah, I like that you added that because most of the events that we do for kids, it's not in isolation from their families and parents. They need to bring
Right.
them to
Hopefully
the
not.
event, right? They need to probably, hopefully not. They need to volunteer probably at some of the stations or help out with food and whatnot. But yeah,
Yeah.
setting up these other parent specific events like really gives them that buy-in for, oh, how else can I get involved? One time I had a parent workshop at our church and I didn't really think that a lot of people would come because it
Yeah.
was on the weekend and it feels like a lecture, but we had a surprisingly good turnout, even people bringing like friends who didn't go to our church at the time. And I thought that was really interesting because, I mean, right now, more than ever, there are so many resources out there, like so many
Yes.
YouTube videos and reels and whatnot. But I think that at some point, all of us kind of crave that like human connection and interaction. And they really want to
Mhm.
hear some helpful things from someone who knows them, who knows their kid, and someone that they already trust. So these events can really be a good stepping stone into building that trust.
Yeah, yeah. Similarly, we recently did baptisms at our church. And obviously, we provided resources and stuff for parents to look at and familiarize themselves with leading up to that event. But we also did these parent specific meetings to provide them with some context about baptism, make them feel comfortable with what was going to go down. And so those were very well attended. I think for the same reason, because they wanted to hear from us personally. And that was a great opportunity to build some trust and gain relationship with them.
Right, and you don't assume that they already know everything about baptism and everything there is to know to prepare their kid for this step. So, yeah, that's
Right.
amazing. So, yeah, events are a great way to create those touch points, but we all know that a few events throughout the year just aren't enough to maintain that connection with our parents and families. So, how can we keep parents in the loop when they're not asked to be at an event?
Exactly. So number 2 is communicating with parents. And obviously the idea here is that you don't want the only time you communicate with parents to be like those 2 or 3 parent events that you have, or really
Right.
any event. You want to keep a constant and consistent communication line open with your parents. And so that means you have to have these consistent touch points of communication. So again, here are some ideas for that. The one that I think is very important, but we don't often do, is an annual survey. And this is
Mm.
just a survey you give to parents to kind of learn their preferences. Like, don't guess at how they like to be communicated with.
Yeah.
You could just ask them, like, do you want text? Do you want emails? Do you want a Facebook group? You get this information and then you can communicate in the best possible way to actually get their attention and get their engagement. But regardless of how that survey comes out, we definitely recommend that you do monthly emails. So this is just a great thing to like centralize all that's going on in a month and put it all in one place. You can point parents to it with the other places you're communicating them with, and basically just say, hey, check out the monthly email. If you're not getting them, let me know. And that's an awesome place to have a centralized communication kind of hub. And
Mhm.
also, it's good to repurpose your content weekly. So what you can do is you can take snippets from your monthly email and put it in those other forms of communication. And it just kind of gives you that more consistent communication with them throughout the month, not just that 1 month email, but all those little things that are going into texts and Facebook groups and such. And
Yeah.
there are other tools like handbooks and tip videos, which I know tip videos seem very, very complicated to make, but you can be really simple. Just don't go overboard with production. And once you make those, you can repurpose them over and over again too. So those are also really cool. These are
Yeah.
just some ideas. The thing is, you want to keep those lines of communication open between you and parents. You just don't ever want parents thinking like, man, I haven't heard from Pastor Jason in a while. Like, what is going on over there? So these constant touch points, they just help to deal with that, but they also can be tools to keep your parents engaged throughout the year.
Yeah, I know I personally shy away from communicating because being a parent and being on the receiving end of a lot of like the school communiques, it's really overwhelming sometimes. And
Yeah.
I come with this like inherent fear of, oh my goodness, what if I'm like inundating them with too much information? But honestly, like over communication is better than no communication. So like these tools are super helpful. Do you have a favorite one?
I do. I think my favorite one is the Facebook groups. I
Hmm.
just think it's great because it doesn't only provide a place where you can put the information that you want to share, but it also gives them kind of a forum to share with each other. And so it's a
Hmm.
great way to kind of do two things at once. Like you're sharing information, but you're also building some camaraderie between the parents themselves because they can share with each other and give ideas, and we can share a ride and stuff like that. So I think Facebook groups are a great place to kind of communicate with your parents.
Yeah, it's funny because like nobody really uses Facebook anymore, but there's no other tool that does what Facebook groups does, or maybe not as
Exactly.
easy to use as Facebook
Yeah.
groups. Yeah, and those of you guys who use Grow, we do have something called Grow Hubs, which does have a similar function. So you can also check that out, but we'll talk about that a little
Shameless
more
plug.
later.
Yep.
Gotta do it.
Mhm.
These are super helpful ideas. So, we're making events for parents and just having them as easy on ramps for them to get involved. We
Yeah.
communicate with parents at kind of like a rhythm and a pace that works for us so they can stay in the know and we stay connected to them. What would be the next level up from that, you think?
Okay. So number 3 is spending time with parents. So little warning sign here. I think this might be the one that seems like the least fun to do for some of us.
The
And
introvert in me is like, ah, no.
exactly. And also, we have to know this might not be the best for parents either, but doing this right can really be effective in our ministries. So here are some suggestions for doing this. The first one is parent meetings. And I know when you say parent meetings, like dun dun dun, yeah, we have to do them. And I think the problem with parent meetings is that we often fill them with information that we just could have put in an email or we could have put somewhere else. So we don't want to do that. Like instead, we want to save our parent meetings for big moments like orientations, big events that are coming up, times of crisis. And that way you make sure this information is included and it's expected from parents, but you also can hear from them about all the feelings they're having, the things that they're dealing with around these big events that are coming up. So it doesn't feel like something that could just been done over email because it's centered around these big events. So I think that's a big one, and doing them right, they can really be effective. I know they can seem scary, but if you do them right and don't do them all the time, then they can be really good. Another one that I don't feel like people do a lot of is parent discussion groups. I think this is really a cool one that, people don't practice it because basically the idea is just like small gatherings with parents. So coffees or desserts or like chicken wings or whatever you want to do where like parents just interact with each other. They just get to know each other. They can talk about, they can share experiences, they can share wisdom. And if you spread like 2 or 3 of these throughout the year, it's a great way to like help your parents know each other. And if they know each other, then they'll be more likely to be involved in your ministry together. And then this last one is probably the biggest one that is scary, and that is parent conversations, like the one-on-one. Yes, introverts aren't going to love this one. But again, it's something we have to do, especially moments of crisis, if you're having behavior issues, concerns that you have, recruitment for big things that are coming up. And in these combos, we just have to be ready to be open, honest, and direct. And we need to ask those questions that will allow us to give them feedback, but also we can get feedback, like receive feedback from them. And another shameless plug here is that, and I think this is great, especially for our introverted folks, but at Grow, we have the parent conversation guides who give you like an idea for the conversations you might have and things that you might say. I think that's so important. I know if I go into a conversation, I at least want to have an idea for what I might say if certain questions come up. So I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, having a guide is such a game changer. And I love that how it is scary. It is intimidating, but like we've been saying so far is if we have been really working hard to earn the trust of the parents and their
Yeah.
caregivers, like it's going to be a lot more natural. It's not going to feel like this dreaded one-on-one, I got called to the principal's office kind of moment, but more like, hey, we're
Yeah.
just chatting with a friend. Talk to me about your kid. I love your kid. You love your kid. Let's talk about them. And it's going to be a really great way to connect. So I really like how, especially the part where you talked about discussion groups and how we can create spaces where like families can connect with each other. Because,
Yeah.
well, one, they do have a lot of like shared wisdom and experiences that they can impart, like even more than what we can provide. But
Yeah.
also, like when they kind of get to know each other like that, then they're more likely to get involved because, like, now I have a friend who's going to be at this event too. So they can like volunteer together, they can carpool to events. And I think that's a really great way to foster like genuine connection.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's underutilized. People don't do this a lot, but those discussion groups, because we know, being pastors and parents, that parenting can be lonely. It can be a very lonely thing to do. And so you can kind of combat that with these discussion groups. And it's a great way, like you said, to have them come volunteer because they got to know that parent and now they're friends. And so they're creating a relationship and they're creating trust with each other. And that will help your ministry overall. So
Yeah, for sure. I remember a while back, I was really struggling with trying to get learning accommodations for one of my kids, and I really didn't know how to go about it. Like, the resources on them were so hard to find. But then, like, I connected with a few parents, and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I went through this with my 2 older kids. Let me tell you how." And it was like, amazing. Like, oh, I could just ask people for help. This is really cool.
Yeah, it seems so obvious, but if you can set that up for parents, then it
Right.
helps make some big problems not seem as big when they can tackle them together.
Yeah, I would even add like setting up like a WhatsApp or a group chat too. So those
Hmm.
kinds of discussions can continue outside of your designated meeting times. So that'd be really
Yeah,
fun. Um,
for sure.
okay. These are all so good. Is there anything else we can do to let parents know how much we value them and really need them in our ministry?
Yes. Number 4 is celebrate parents. I think this is
Yay.
such an awesome way to let parents know that you're thinking about them and that you are on their side. So, some
Mhm.
very kind of simple ideas for that is birthdays. And it's one thing to just say like happy birthday Bob, hope you're doing great, but you can also take the opportunity to affirm parents through these birthdays, like send a personal note to them to let them know you saw something they did. And so hopefully this birthday is great and I want to affirm you real quick. Another cool
Mhm.
way to do this is holidays, which obviously you have like Christmas and Easter. You want to be sure to reach out, but also like those silly quirky ones like Unicorn Day or Paper Airplane Day.
Love those. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really super fun. And when you reach out and like let them know, hey, it's this crazy wacky holiday, but you can also encourage them to do something fun with their kiddos on that day. So you're kind of
Mhm.
again two things at the same time. You're celebrating a parent, letting them know that, what they mean to you, but also giving them an idea, encouraging them to interact with their kiddos. And so that's a great thing too. Some things that you definitely want to incorporate in these celebrations: food, because we all know
Absolutely.
food is a love language. It's never a
Universal.
bad thing to have food. Fun, because it might seem like obviously you want things to be fun, but helping parents to have fun with their kiddos each day is a real easy way to get in good with parents and let them like
Mhm.
honor them, let them know that you're on their side. And then, like I said before, just encouragement, man. Parenting is hard. Parenting is difficult. And so anything you can do to just let them know that you're seeing their hard work, that you appreciate them, that you support what they're doing, is just great. A great way to celebrate parents and let them know that, hey, you're noticing how great of a job they're doing and how much you appreciate them parenting those great kiddos that you have.
Yeah, I love what you said about how these things can help them, like, just affirm the fact that you are on their side, because
Right.
that is so helpful, because a lot of times that gets missed in translation, and sometimes, like, parents and ministry leaders are at odds with each other. It's like, "Oh, that's your job." "No, that's your job." I remember one time my son's, like, 5th grade teacher, told me, "Tell me what kind of language you use at home so, like, we can replicate that in the learning environment for him at school so that he's kinda getting the same messaging." And I thought that was so powerful to hear, to be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, this teacher really wants to partner with me to help my child." And I think that's really what we're doing here, is creating these opportunities for engagement and having parents get involved is really just to show them that, yeah, we are on the same team and we are here to love your child and to help them grow. And this is such a great way to do that. I love the weird holidays. Like, I think that's so unique. And I think that, just to be like, hey, it's National Donut Day. Here, have a donut. It's just so interesting. And it just really gets people engaged. I think that's really fun.
Yeah, I mean the paper airplane one must like seem a little wacky, but it's such a cool idea to like send a text and be like, "Hey, probably didn't know it, but it's paper airplane day. Take a second today and like make a paper airplane with your kiddo." And as you're doing that, I just want you to know that that time you take is so important to them. So you're
Yeah.
encouraging them, you're getting them to hang out with your kids, and yeah, like you said, kind of blurring the lines between the everyday life they have with their kiddos and the ministry that they're a part of at church. And that's really the idea behind this is you want those things to feel interconnected.
Yes, absolutely. And don't know how to fold a paper airplane? Here's a template. Here's a video.
Exactly.
Scaffold it as much as you can. Amazing. So we've walked through 4 practices today to help parents get more involved in ministry. We said we're going to make events for parents. We're going to
Mhm.
communicate with parents. We're going to spend time with parents and love it and celebrate parents. And I love how powerful this becomes when we like put it on the calendar and turn it into strategy, and we're not just trying to do it on a whim. Because
Yeah.
that way, instead of like just hoping, please, parents show up, we can like earn and keep their trust and have this relationship with them year after year.
Yeah. And for me, like putting these things on the calendar releases me from the guilt that I'm not doing enough to engage parents in
Yes,
my ministry. It just
that
lets me
guilt is
know
real.
it is very real. It is very real. And if you're not like active, then you can feel like, hey, I'm not doing enough. But if you put it on the calendar, it also lets you know that the work you're going to put into that is going to get you the biggest impact possible. So yeah.
All right, Jason, thank you so much for this helpful and awesome conversation. Before we wrap up today's episode, I gotta ask you, what are you into right now?
Okay, so it's probably not going to be the most popular thing for like half of our listeners, but sports, man. Football starting, baseball's going on, even the US Open and tennis is going on. It is so much fun to be watching sports these days. So that is really what I'm into. I know it's kind of a bummer, but what about you, Linda? What are you
All
into?
the sports fanatics are like, yes, Jason's our guy.
Yes, exactly. I'm with you guys.
I love pretending to know about sports. I don't know enough to actually engage in conversation, however.
See, Linda wants to trick you. Linda won our company competition last year, picking
That
football
is
teams
true.
winners. Beat me
That is
at the
true.
very end. So she knows more than she lets on, for sure.
Yes. Yes, I am. Come to me with all your picks. Actually, don't do that. The secret is I asked my husband for help.
Mm.
Okay, what am I into? I am into, of course, these little Labubu's. For those of you guys who are just listening on
Yes.
audio, I'm holding up my Labubu dolls. And
Mm-hmm.
I resisted getting the Labubu's for so long because I thought they just kind of look like where the wild things are creatures.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're not
Yeah.
that cute. But then, like, with the possibility of dressing them up and making a bag
Wow.
accessory, I
Yeah.
was like, let's do this. I'm full send. So I have been really into my Labubu's.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. I feel like we balanced it out. Like
Yes,
for
there we
people
go.
that don't like the
Something for
sports part,
everyone.
that like the Labubu dolls, we got everyone. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
tell us what you like better. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, Anjane, for your question today. If you have a ministry question that you want us to talk about next, make sure to send us a voicemail. You can find that link in our show notes as well. All right, till next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.